What would you do if you could control the fate of the universe with just the snap of your fingers? For Thanos, he knows exactly what he wants to do with that power, and he will stop at nothing to enact his great plan to restore balance to the universe by eradicating half of the population, even going as far as genocide. At the beginning of Avengers: Infinity War, we see him doing just that to what was left of the people of Asgard. Amidst the smoking pile of rubble and bodies in the ship that has served as their new home, we see a beaten-up and defeated Thor still trying to talk back to Thanos, who is on the search for the Space Stone, one of the 6 Infinity Stones that he needs in order to enact his plan. With the help of the Power Stone, which he nabbed after destroying Xandar, he wipes out nearly all of Asgard. The Hulk tries to attack, but is utterly beaten by Thanos, almost perishing at his hands. With the Hulk down, Thor is almost finished off too, until Loki offers Thanos the Space Stone, encased in the Tesseract he stole years prior, in exchange for Thor's life. As he pledges his allegiance to Thanos, however, Loki, god of mischief himself, manifests a knife and tries to betray Thanos, but he is easily stopped. As Thanos suffocates him with one hand in front of Thor, Loki tells him that he will never be a god, before succumbing to his grip. As all of this is happening, a very injured Heimdall then summons the power of the Bifrost to send the unconscious Hulk back to Earth, to send the grave message, before he too is ended by one of Thanos' children. With the Power Stone and Space Stone now in the hands of Thanos, he and his children destroy the ship, leaving Thor behind, stranded in space, with his only family now gone, much like his home. Meanwhile, Hulk crash lands into the Sanctum Sanctorum in New York City, where he transforms back into Bruce Banner and informs Dr. Stephen Strange and Wong about the impending arrival and doom brought about by Thanos. With Bruce back on Earth, they contact Tony Stark, now enjoying a semi-peaceful life with his fiancée Pepper, to inform him about Thanos' plan and the role of the Infinity Stones in making all of that happen. With Thanos now in possession of 2, he is currently the most powerful being in the entire universe. Knowing that, Stark tries to tell Strange that they need to get rid or hide the Time Stone that Strange possesses, in order to get it as far away as possible from Thanos. But Dr. Strange, who swore a sacred oath to protect the Time Stone at all costs, refuses to part with it. Realizing that one of the stones is embedded within Vision, Tony makes the grave realization that they have to find him again, but to do that, he has to make contact with his friend-turned-rival, Steve Rogers, to get his location. Just as Bruce and Strange try to pressure Stark into phoning Rogers, outside, they notice people running away and the wind blowing furiously. 2 of Thanos' children, Ma and Obsidian, have already arrived in New York and are on a mission to steal the Time Stone from Doctor Strange. Stark suits up, and Wong and Strange prepare themselves to fight the 2. However, the Hulk, now traumatized after his encounter with Thanos, refuses to come out of Banner. As the 3 battle it out, in the distance, Peter Parker notices the giant spaceship that just landed in New York, and joins them in reinforcement. With the help of a little magic razzle-dazzle from Wong, they end up cutting off Obsidian's hand, and leave him stranded somewhere in the snowy mountains far, far away. But the same couldn't be said about Ma, who is able to capture Strange. After realizing that the necklace containing the TMS stone is imbued with a powerful spell meant to severely hurt anyone that tries to steal it, Ma subdues Strange and takes him over to the ship to torture him. Seeing this happening, Peter tries to stop them and Stark follows him. Stark uses this opportunity to equip Peter with a new Spider-Man suit that is crazy intuitive, like his spider senses. Stark tries sending Peter home, but Peter manages to stick around anyway as Stark enters the ship himself. Meanwhile, on Earth, Wong goes back to the Sanctum to protect it, while Banner picks up Tony's phone from the ground and contacts the rest of the Avengers. All the way in Scotland, we see Wanda Maximoff and Vision enjoying a quiet life in hiding. As the 2 head out for Vision to take a train back to where Captain America can find him, the 2 discuss their relationship. As they share this beautiful moment of realizing that they want to continue being together, the 2 are ambushed by 2 of Thanos' children, Midnight and Glaive. Vision and Wanda try to fight back, but almost immediately find themselves outpowered by the 2 beings. Luckily, Steve Rogers, Natasha Romanoff, and Sam Wilson arrive just in time to fight them off. After successfully subduing the 2, they seek refuge in the Avengers facility in New York, where they reunite with James Rhodes. There, the team tries to brainstorm ways to stop Thanos. Realizing that the best way to get the stones away from Thanos is to destroy them, Vision proposes that the stone on his head be destroyed using a power that is equal to it. In other words, he wants Wanda, his girlfriend, to destroy it, and possibly him. Thankfully, Steve Rogers knows a place and some people that could destroy the stone without sacrificing Vision's life. Back in space, we see the Guardians of the Galaxy respond to a distress signal, only to find the decimated remains of the Asgard ship, and the group end up rescuing a badly injured but still alive Thor. The group takes him in, and when he wakes up, he tells them about how Thanos murdered his people and his only surviving family in order to get the Space Stone. This shakes Gamora a little, and we are reminded that Gamora, despite being a Guardian now, was once Thanos' daughter. With the help of the Guardians, Thor hatches a plan. He guesses that Thanos is now in pursuit of the Reality Stone, which he is certain can be found in nowhere in the hands of the Collector. But with his weapon gone, he must first drop by to the fabled planet of Nidavellir, which, as Rocket puts it, is the home of the meanest weapons in the entire universe. It's also where Thor got his hammer, and now he intends to get something twice as powerful to defeat Thanos. Taking Rocket and Groot with him, Thor then takes a pod and heads for Nidavellir, leaving Peter Quill, Gamora, Drax, and Mantis on the ship heading for nowhere. On their way there, Gamora talks to Quill and makes him promise that when it comes down to it, if Thanos has Gamora, he needs to promise that he will end her, rather than let her get taken. Reluctantly, he accepts. In Nowhere, the group encounters Thanos torturing the Collector to reveal the location of the Reality Stone. Drax, whose entire family has been taken by Thanos, is enraged at the sight of him, and attempts to ambush him alone before Mantis makes him fall asleep, causing a ruckus that Thanos notices. Without any second thought, however, Gamora attacks Thanos and easily defeats him. But slowly, the reality of the situation reveals itself. Nowhere has already been ransacked, and Thanos already has the Reality Stone on his gauntlet. They were too late. Now, with Gamora right in front of him, he takes a hold of her, but not before Quill threatens him. Gamora reminds him of the promise he made her, and he reluctantly aims for her head. When he hits the trigger, however, Thanos augments reality, and bubbles come out. He patronizes Quill just before warping away with Gamora, leaving him there. At the ship, Thanos reveals through a tortured Nebula that he knows that Gamora already has the location of the Soul Stone, after he accessed Nebula's memory. When Gamora refuses to tell him where it is, he tortures and rips apart Nebula right in front of her, causing her to reveal that the Soul Stone was in Vormir. With the location now pinned, the two head over to Vormir, leaving Nebula at the ship. In Vormir, Thanos and Gamora face the Red Skull, the keeper of the Soul Stone. Red Skull informs Thanos that in order to retrieve the Soul Stone, he must trade the soul of that which he loves. With his most beloved daughter with him, Thanos tearfully throws Gamora off the cliff, getting the Soul Stone in return after waking up in a nearby pool. Back at the ship, as this is happening, Nebula is able to escape and signal the rest of the Guardians to meet her on Thanos' home world, Titan. Somewhere in space, as all this fiasco is going down, Stark and Parker regroup inside Ma's ship, together with Strange's sentient magical cape. With Peter's pop culture knowledge, they manage to work together and save Strange from being tortured by Ma. The three regroup, and Strange suggests that they protect the Time Stone at all costs by hiding. But Stark now disagrees. He said that they should do the thing that Thanos would expect the least, and take the fight to him. As they work out a plan, the Guardians come across their ship and ambush them. At first they all think that they're enemies, but they soon realize that they are all after Thanos anyway. With that in mind, the united group heads toward Titan. There, they try to formulate a plan where they can successfully subdue Thanos and take the gauntlet, and as they do so, Strange uses the Time Stone to see 14,605 possible futures, to see what could happen. They only win in one. As Thanos teleports to Titan, as they predicted, the group then get their plan into action, and they manage to subdue him significantly, even almost taking off the gauntlet from his arm. But as Quill questions where Gamora is, Mantis, who has been keeping Thanos half asleep, detects that he feels anguish and mourning. Seeing that Thanos now has the Soul Stone, and Gamora is no longer with him, Nebula deduces that Thanos her for his purpose. This enraged Quill, and he hits Thanos, causing Mantis to lose her grip on him and allow him to fight back. Thanos then manages to beat the rest of the group, almost nearly ending Stark, but not before Strange comes to his rescue. In exchange for Stark's life, Strange goes against his earlier word of protecting the stone at all costs, and willingly gives Thanos the Time Stone. With Thanos now in possession of the Time Stone, he leaves, and Strange, the only one who knows the path to the future in which they have a chance at victory, tells a baffled Stark that they are in the end game now. Meanwhile, Thor, Rocket, and Groot finally arrive in Nidavellir, and the group finds it abandoned and desolate. Even the giant forge is inactive. As they investigate the ruins, the giant dwarf, Eitri, mistakes them for attackers and threatens them. Eitri realizes that it is Thor, and he tearfully tells him that Asgard is supposed to protect them. But Thor just solemnly tells him that Asgard has been destroyed. Turns out, Eitri was the one who forged the very gauntlet that Thanos has been using to harness the power of the stones. He did that in hopes that he would spare his people. They ended up decimating everybody anyway, leaving only him to survive, but with maimed hands so he could never forge again. With no one left in the Nidavellir, the forge was left to freeze. Thor, with the help of Rocket, then manually labors to reactivate the forge and reignite the neutron star that keeps it alight. Nearly in the process, Thor manually opens the forge's iris, so that the metal can be molded into an axe. Without a handle, though, it's useless. With Thor taking the full throttle of the neutron star, Groot then steps up and uses an extension of tree arms to make the handle, creating what is now known as Stormbreaker, which grants Thor the power of the Bifrost. On Earth, the rest of the Avengers arrive in Wakanda, where King T'Challa welcomes. His sister, Shuri, is tasked with extracting the stone from Vision while still keeping him alive. As outside, the rest of Thanos' army arrive just beyond the kingdom's shields. With Thanos now in possession of the Power Stone, the Space Stone, the Reality Stone, the Soul Stone, and the Time Stone, all he needs now is the Mind Stone embedded in Vision, and he and his giant army will stop at nothing to get it. When the rabid alien dogs start circling around to get to the palace, T'Challa makes the difficult decision to focus all the fire onto them and give Shuri enough time to save Vision. He opens the barrier ever so slightly, allowing the armies to get inside. It is a nightmare. Not only are they up against Thanos' powerful children, they also have to deal with thousands upon thousands of these rabid aliens that want nothing more than to destroy them. Luckily, Thor arrives with Rocket and Groot. Now armed with Stormbreaker, Thor unleashes his rage across the enemies, demanding to destroy Thanos in revenge for his lost brother. Meanwhile, near the palace, the enemies have broken through the barrier and have gotten in, nearly hurting Shuri as well as Vision. One of Thanos' children, Glaive, attacks Vision and sends him flying outside and into the forest. Banner, in his new Hulk-like suit, comes to his rescue, and the tide seems to turn here as one by one Thanos' children meet their end. Glaive, before nearly ending Banner, gets rocketed into the barrier, and Midnight is shredded to pieces by one of their own machines. With Vision now in a very vulnerable position, Rogers and Wanda try to ward off Thanos, who has just arrived to retrieve the Mind Stone. Seeing that there is no other way to keep him from destroying everything, Wanda heeds Vision's wishes, and she begins to destroy the Mind Stone and consequently, Vision himself. With one hand destroying the stone and the other warding off Thanos, she eventually succeeds, and is exhausted. But with Thanos now armed with the Time Stone, he merely turns his hand and revives Vision, before brutally ripping the stone off his head in front of Wanda, murdering him a second time, while still getting what he needed. With all 6 of the Infinity Stones now in his gauntlet, he now has the power to enact his great plan, to restore balance to the universe by wiping out half of all life that exists. It is here that Thor finally encounters Thanos again. In his rage, Thor drives Stormbreaker into Thanos' chest, but Thanos survives just long enough to tell him that he should have aimed for his hand. With just a snap of his fingers, half of all life everywhere turns into dust, and one by one, we see Sam, Bucky, King T'Challa, Groot, Wanda, Quill, Drax, Mantis, Peter, Strange, and many, many more just disappear into thin air. Thanos has won.